Hi everybody and welcome back to the Going For It Sim Studio. You know, when we talk about our simulators, it's really easy to talk about all the fun stuff, the cool courses, the great graphics, all the fun games that you get to play, that entertainment value that a simulator truly brings. And even my favorite topic, and that's introducing the game of golf to folks through golf simulator technology. But today I want to help you understand the one thing that most folks may think they know, but it's really easy to not take the time to understand truly what they mean, and that's all the numbers or metrics that these golf simulators spit at us. So let's jump right into it, and I'm going to give you the one thing that every single golf user needs to do so that you can get the most out of your simulator time. Let's go. All right, so we're all familiar with this right here, the driving range. A lot of the time, whether we're renting time or we're utilizing our own sim, we're gonna spend a lot of the time here. And then of course we have the entertainment value where we're doing around or we're playing those fun games with our friends and family. Now, what happens after you hit the ball? You know, there's a level that my coach, Jeff Ritter, has always taught me that when you hit a ball, you should be able to quickly feel what happened, right? And that takes a lot of time and effort and skill to be able to do. Like on that shot in particular, to me it felt a little fat. But when this screen comes up, a lot of the focus on average tends to be on this one over here on the left, and that's your total distance. You know, and with the new ball technology and the constant review, we start to see a lot of the ball speed and the club speed comes into effect, and that's all you want to look at when you're in here because we want to be able to tell everybody those really big numbers that we have. But what does the rest of this mean? How do we even truly understand what the rest of this means? You know, I get a lot of people when they're buying their first sim and they start looking at certain launch monitors and they're like, here's the one I want, but there's multiple different data packages. You get more ball data, you could get extra club data. Which one do I need? My recommendation is always, you should start with the basic one. Why put extra money into something you don't know you need? That's kind of the way I look at it. Now, if you are an avid golfer, you know metrics in and out, and you know exactly what you need, then yeah, I mean, then pick the bigger package because you need that data, right? You're gonna get the cost to benefit of that. But for most folks, I say, let's just start with the basic and let's see where it goes because golf simulators especially can be death by data points. You just get to have so many numbers, so much stuff thrown at you that it's overwhelming and you quickly just kind of back off to hitting balls and it just becomes kind of a hobby, but not really anything that's gonna benefit your golf swing. And today, because we are focusing on metrics, I wanna make sure that I'm speaking to the folks that in general should know what these numbers mean, even if you don't know how to calculate them or exactly how they affect each other, you should have a pretty good idea so that when you do go rent that sim time, you're getting the most out of your money. And if you have a simulator at your house or you are planning to put a sim in, it just makes sense to me to understand what you're paying for. Understand the numbers so that you can become a better golfer. A lot easier said than done, right? And that's unfortunately a fact. There are explanations of every data point everywhere, okay? I know that specifically About Golf has a fact section that you get when you are a member of About Golf and you have access that'll explain what these data points are. Every simulator provides different data points, but for the most part, they're all gonna kind of be the same and you can understand what you're learning and how to relate it to your simulator. So my one recommendation and a place that I found to be a very, very good reference is TrackMan University. It's completely free for you to go through. For everybody, you sign up for an account and you just roll through it. Now, you may be saying, Jeremy, I'm not a coach. I don't need to understand all this stuff. I honestly think you do. I think it would benefit every golfer to understand what these numbers mean, how I can take a shot that I thought was fat, look over here, and I can see on the club data, I had an ascending attack angle of 0.3 degrees. I came up on that ball, which tells me I hit the ground before the ball, before I didn't shift enough, so which means I didn't have my bottom of the arc ahead of the ball. On an iron shot, that's where you want it to hit down and compress the ball. And what happens in a sim, when you hit behind the ball, generally the club bounces up, causing an ascending attack angle. So right there, that tells me, yep, you were right. You definitely chunked that. So it's like a little bit of affirmation. So tell me, what is TrackMan University? Well, let me just tell you about it. We don't need to talk till we're blue in the face about it. I'm gonna run over with you. I'm gonna show it to you so that you see exactly what you get, and you'll be able to understand kind of why I truly think this is the one thing that every single sim user should 100% do to prepare yourself for any sort of sim time. So when you first log in, you're gonna see 3 squares here. The first one that I wanna talk about is the TrackMan parameters. This is simply just a definition library. Now, why do you think this is gonna be so important? It's because it's gonna relate to whatever simulator you have, even if the words they use are slightly different. The thing that I really like about it is you get a visual representation of what each data point is, and then you're also gonna get how to calculate it if it's a calculated measure, so that if maybe your simulator doesn't 100% calculate it, you're actually able to calculate it yourself, and then you won't get confused because you can look at the data point, find it on here, and you can learn it a little bit more. And what's really important about those definitions is data isn't necessarily all calculated at the exact same time. Some things are calculated at the point of maximum compression. They might be calculated just after ball strike, and they might be calculated prior to that ball strike. So understanding exactly how and when stuff is actually calculated makes a big difference in how you're gonna take this data and utilize it for yourself. Next up, we have the learning materials. So when you're in here, you go through a learning type class for each module, and then you take it over to the modules and tests, and you put your knowledge to the test. So because you have the ability to take what you've learned and run through a test that doesn't matter how many you get wrong, you're still implementing that knowledge. It's gonna really stick it into your head. So here you have your 10 fundamentals. You have the distance, smash factor, spin rate, launch angle, launch direction, club path, the 2 different types of spin axis, your straight shot, and your bounce and roll. So those are the 10 main core fundamentals, right, of TrackMan. Now, if you don't have that system, that's fine. Those are gonna be the same 10 that just about every single launch monitor is gonna provide you. I get all of those here on my About Golf simulator, and I run through these learning fundamentals on top of the tests once a year, because I really like to make sure that I'm sharp so that when I look at these numbers, I'm able to take a look at those when I'm trying to learn a swing change and make sure that I'm on the right track. So to further that, you go down and you have some course management. We all need that. How does this data actually get affected in the wind, weather, and your elevation? That's gonna be something that you're gonna be able to take from the sim to that green grass golf course. Further that, you get more definition testing, you get some short game introduction, all the way into your putting performance. So all that stuff, it's really, really important. Now, look, I understand that putting is not gonna be the same for everybody. Honestly, if you're not utilizing an over-the-head unit, and I'm gonna even speak specifically to the TrackMan that's behind you, I just don't think the putting's really there without an upper image of the ball and the strike to really get you accurate putting. It's something that I've been able to take and learn myself here, going to other simulators, having buddies come over who have utilized other simulators, utilizing the putting on About Golf and realizing just how accurate and fun it is. No longer do you need to have that big circle that you just get it into and the game's over. Sure, it speeds up your 18 if that's what you're doing, but you actually get some pretty good practice if you know how to utilize that putting, and understanding how that data works will also take it over to the green when you get outside. So within those, the testing aspect of TrackMan University, they do have some further testing you can do that they recommend for coaches, but I highly recommend everybody take those 4 because it basically encompasses everything into one test to make sure that what you've read and what you've learned, you're able to retain. Now, they do a great job. They have a video for every single one, multiple videos actually, by some of the top coaches in the world. You're gonna see a lot of it from Martin Chuck, and I think it's great. They're very well taught, and it's a quick thing for you to do. Every once in a while throughout the week, maybe on weekends when you just wake up, open up TrackMan University, go through a few of those learning modules, and become a better sim user. I promise it's gonna help you further your education so that when you get into the sim, you're gonna be able to take advantage of every minute that you're in here. Now, I definitely come into my sim, play a round of 18, or even hit on the driving range, and I don't pay any attention to the data, and that's okay. So make sure you follow your simulator's data points and what they need to track the club and the ball. Utilize the RCT balls if you have a Doppler system. Make sure you use the club stickers and the correct balls if you're using a camera system. And then get in the sim and practice so that when you come out of it, you have used the #1 training aid in all of golf, and you're gonna become a better golfer moving forward. Take care.